Hello, this is a video about how to migrate media such as images and documents from our current site to our new WordPress site. I should say before I get started that there is a lot more information, a lot more background information about how WordPress uses and works with media in the guide that I have emailed around to everyone. Please read that before watching this video. It's got some essential background information that you really are going to need to know before you go through this process, but that background information is not something that I'm going to cover in this video in the interest of keeping it short and not wasting your time. You can read it a lot faster than I can tell you about it. Alright, to get started with moving images, you want to go ahead and have your workspace set up, and your workspace in this case consists of internet browser that has two tabs open. You want the page that you're migrating from, and you want the visual editor in WordPress open to the page that you're migrating to. So in this case, we've got the accepted students page on our current site and the same page in the back end of WordPress here open in the visual editor. One other item you want to have is a empty folder. I put mine on the desktop, just called a working directory. And that folder is to save these images into and then to choose them when you're uploading into WordPress. Alright, let's get started. First thing you want to do, save all the images on this page that you're going to want to migrate. In this case, I've chosen a page with just one image, so right click on it. Chrome uses Save Image As. Your internet browser may have something slightly different, but the gist is the same. You want to save that image into your working folder, working directory, and you want to use a namespace. That's one of the items explained in the documentation that I've sent around. The namespace I have chosen for admission is ADM, all caps with an underscore, and save that file. Now that I've got it, I can come over to Edit Page and upload it into WordPress. Now remember that your image is going to appear in the editor wherever your cursor is. The original page had the image appearing beneath this sentence. I kind of want to have the image right under the title on this new page, so I've just created a new line here by putting my cursor in, hitting return to get a new line. Now my cursor is right where I want that image to appear. The next step is the Add Media button. Click it. This opens WordPress's media library. This screen with its two tabs is one of the screens you'll see over and over, whether you're accessing the media library directly from the WordPress dashboard or whether you're accessing it from within the visual editor. It's going to look the same. And the way the library works in brief is you have all the media here that we have uploaded into the system. That includes documents of different kinds as well as images. It gives you some thumbnails of the images, and if you click an image, it'll show you that it's selected and give you all the metadata about it over here on the right. I cover what this metadata is in the documentation. Please have a look at that. You'll notice right away that there's a lot here. If we scroll down to the bottom, it just gives us even more. Like the scroll bar will just keep going and going. At present, there I think is about 200 things in there. That's why we're moving into using namespaces. It helps to organize this content and group it together so that people can find their content a little more easily. The search bar is also absolutely essential, and in order for the search bar to be useful, you've got to use the correct metadata here, in this case descriptions and titles. Okay, so back to what we were doing. We don't want this image. We actually want to upload the image from here that we've just saved. If you want to upload a new file, you want to click the Upload Files tab, and you can either drag and drop the file here from your desktop or from that folder, or you can use the Select Files button and select it from within your working folder. Make sure you've got your namespace set up. It'll upload the file and select it. Usually selects it automatically. I don't want that one there. Okay, so we have our file selected. We're ready to add our metadata. I'm going to go ahead and add the alt text of class outside. And the description I'm just going to keep the same. For the time being, I'm going to leave alignment at none and don't need to worry about these two. Size, however, is important and something you need to pay attention to. In general, you probably want your size to be, you'd rather it be a little larger than you need than a little smaller than you need. This picture, if you'll notice, is really small. So full size is 400 pixels wide by 175 pixels tall. And then WordPress immediately creates several more options for us. A medium size, it's just 100 pixels smaller, and a thumbnail, which is very small and square. In this instance, I'm going to use the full size just because really it's already too small. And I'm going to insert it into my page. Once you've got your image in your page, you could continue working with it by clicking it and hitting the edit icon here. This gives you the same option, slightly different screen, and we're going to return to this momentarily, so I'll get back to it. If the image looks good, you can go ahead and save your changes, or you can preview. That's a nice option. If you hit the preview changes button, there we go. That's what this would look like. And this is why I've waited for everybody to migrate images until we have this new theme at least partly done. You know, still some warts to work out. But you can see right away that an image that already was a little bit smaller than would have been perfect here is really quite small in this new layout. And this is a point where each of you kind of have to pause and ask yourself, do I have a better image? Is this image even worth keeping? In this instance, I really don't know that I would keep this image here if I didn't have any alternative. It almost would be better to have no image at all than to have one that is just so tiny in this space. And one thing that I would show you, but it isn't quite done yet, hopefully it will be done when you're working on things, another option for a small image would be that we could change its alignment, which is right here, to right. And then if it were set up and working correctly, we would see that image move over and the text wrap, and it might look better. That has not been set up in the theme yet. Again, hopefully it'll be present when you all are actually working with it, but not an option yet for me. So instead of trying to work with this tiny image, I've decided that in this case I want to go ahead and go back to my original copy of this image, which I still have on my hard drive, and get a bigger copy. So I use Adobe Photoshop. There are different kinds of programs that will work. Lightroom will work. The people at the Computing Services Help Desk should be able to provide you with an image editing software of some kind. That's basically a requirement for doing websites. There's really no way around it. I've gone ahead and done some work on this image to prepare it for the site, but there is one thing that you need to know how to do, so I figured I'd show it to you right here. An important element of this is the width of the image. In general, with this new system, you want to go ahead and upload an image that's a little bigger than you need, because we may end up using that image elsewhere with a bigger space. And since WordPress provides those smaller sizes for us, there's no reason not to. But that doesn't mean you can just upload an image straight out of a digital camera or a scanner, because that's far too big. It'll take up a lot of expensive off-site hosted hard drive space. So in this instance, I'm going to look at the image size here in pixels. This image is 3,000 pixels wide. That is wider than any screen right now that we want to have the image displayed on. Now maybe in the future it'll be different, but right now the widest screen I can imagine displaying this image is 1900 pixels wide, kind of. So I'm going to go ahead and give kind of a 1900 pixel width. That's a good kind of baseline for giving a really big image to WordPress that we could work with later. And then Just going to save it into my working space. And I'm going to go ahead and name it basically the same thing. Do keep your namespace there if you do this. There. Now the image is saved, and I'm ready to upload my new image. I can both upload the new image and take care of this old image I'm not going to use at the same time, since hitting the Add Media button opens the media library. I don't want to keep this tiny copy of that image. So I'm just going to click it and then hit the Delete Permanently link. And that makes it go away. And then I'm going to upload the new and larger version of that image, which is right here. There it is. I'm going to add my alt text back in and my description. A very loud keyboard. All right. And now, once again, the size is important. Now we have a full size of 1900 pixels by 883, a large size of 1024 by 475, and then these smaller sizes. The size of this space, this column of text, is 775 pixels wide. So if you would like your image to fit exactly in this column, you want to make it 775 pixels wide. The way to do that is choose the 1024 size, insert it into your page, and then that's going to be too big. But if you click it and click the little edit icon on the image, it gives you an option of custom size. And you can say, I want it to be 775 pixels wide. It automatically calculates the height. And then hit update. What this is doing is not actually changing the size of the image file, it's just telling in HTML the internet browser to take an image that's 1024 pixels wide and only display it at 775. A little technical, but it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and preview that, and the preview loads in the same tab that it's already opened. This looks much better. So we have an image that is the full width of this text column. Much nicer than a tiny little image. And that's really all there is to it. You know, once you've got that preview and you think, okay, this looks good, you can hit update if you're working on a published page. If you're working, for example, on a draft, this is just a draft page I've set up to show you. It also has a preview that works the same way, but instead of hitting update or publish, you would just hit save. Either way works. And then once you have updated, you will be able to actually view the page on the site. So if you were to, let's go ahead and go to the admission landing page and go right into it. If you were to go and just go to, oh boy, sorry. Here we go, Explore and for admitted students. And there you have it. That is how to migrate an image. And I think I'm going to break out the process for migrating documents into a separate video just to not waste your time, but really that's the gist of it. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure to read over the guide if you run into any problems, and make sure to get that background information. And that's it.